Hey, it's SickBoy from the Gaming Anarchic Collective, and welcome to the Anarchic Eye for the 31st of October 2013. One of the first bit of fairly positive news, Shuhei Yoshida from Sony has confirmed that they are well aware of our complaints with regards to the lack of features when it comes to the launch of the PlayStation 4. Those being regarding sound recording and capturing, and they are feeding that back directly to the R&D team responsible for the PlayStation 4. Now, that does not mean these things will be resolved by launch. Certainly not, it is too close to call. But however, it does at least mean that they have taken that on board, and if we keep pressurising them and keep having a go at them, unlike other companies, they may well buckle, and they may well give us precisely what the consumer is asking for. So keep pushing. Well, yesterday when I reported that Ubisoft had added a Uplay passport feature to Assassin's Creed 4, gating certain single-player game components, a lot of people have been getting on Ubisoft on this matter, and this is fantastic news, to the point that a couple of hours ago Ubisoft posted a blog saying that we hear you, we are sorry, and we are going to remove the cost for the Uplay passport download. So whether you get the game new or used, that functionality will be there for you free of charge. This is a bit of fantastic news, and everybody who spoke out should be rightfully proud of themselves for helping the industry see where they are going wrong and see where they need to make their consumers happy. Well done, guys. I am really chuffed with this turnout. Well, Capcom have some mixed bag of news. It turns out that their sales have been up recently, and they've claimed that that is mostly down to Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS in Japan has sold 3 million units since its launch in September. God knows why they haven't thought about releasing it over here, since we've only just got Monster Hunter 3 on the 3DS. Hopefully they'll think about moving that across. They did also mention, which is very funny, about Lost Planet 3. Now, most people who have played or reviewed Lost Planet 3 will say that the game is a heap of crap. It is certainly, from the sounds of it, nowhere near as good as the previous, certainly not the first one. The second one being more of a co-op experience, the third one going sort of back to the original, but being an absolute heap of shit. I have not played it, but from everyone I've known who has played it has said it is terrible. They claim that its poor sales were down to increased competition in the US and Europe. That's bullshit, Capcom, and you know it. Your shitty reputation and terrible DRM practices and the fact that that was an outsourced hunk of junk. You've since said you're no longer outsourcing games, so don't pretend that that thing wasn't a cheap heap of shit that you tried to push on the market that nobody bloody wanted. They wanted a good Lost Planet 3, they got a shit one, didn't sell very well. Suck it up, bring Monster Hunter 4 over here for fuck's sake, and next time make a decent Lost Planet game. It looks like Sony have got some significant pressure on them coming onto this PlayStation 4 launch. Of course, they are going head-to-head with the Xbox One, that being a massive thing in of itself. However, it turns out that Sony have not had a very good quarter. It turns out that, in fact, their profits forecasts have been slashed about 40%, which means they are highly reliant on sales of the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Plus subscriptions, which is most likely why they became mandatory for online play, and presumably Gaikai service, game rental through there when they finally launched that. So they have got a lot riding on the launch of the PlayStation 4. So from their perspective, I'm sure they'll be absolutely crowing with regards to their native 1080p from multi-plat games that the Xbox One can't seem to manage, and that would obviously explain why they're being so receptive to consumer complaints, as mentioned previously, because they know full well that they need the success of the PlayStation 4 in order to ensure a profitable year for the company. It's just been announced, and quite surprisingly to me, that Capcom's biggest selling game of all time is now Resident Evil 5. It has now beaten Street Fighter 2 as the best selling game they actually have, coming in at just over 5 million units, and Street Fighter 2 coming a little bit below that, and then God knows why, Resident Evil 6 coming in just behind that. That's an interesting picture you've got to paint there. That the weakest entry in the Resident Evil franchise has come out as their third best-selling game of all time. Resident Evil 5, arguably not the strongest by any means. Very few people will say that they preferred Resident Evil 5 over Resident Evil 4. And a lot of people, and obviously 4 being a very divisive title as it is, not being so much a survival horror, it is a third-person horror shooter. So that is an interesting picture it paints there. It now means that Street Fighter is not their premium franchise. Of 2 of the top 3 are the last 2 Resident Evil games. Sobering thought, no? Well, the curse of the Obsidian South Park RPG has hit again. South Park The Stick of Truth has been delayed again, now into 2014 with no specified date. Now personally, I have been hoping that this game is going to be good. I really want to have a good South Park RPG experience. I think it could be spectacular. Now, apparently the game is nowhere near ready for a December release, so they're pushing it back to polish and further improve the title. I'm not necessarily angry about that. I am quite disappointed that this game was due to come out in March. There was clearly a great deal of polish and refinement to be done, and I hope it's worthwhile, and what they actually have to offer at the end is a quality finished product. In an attempt to make up for the delay of Drive Club, it seems that Sony has made the indie game Contrast a PlayStation Plus free game on launch, which I think is a decent enough thing to do. It's a shame there wasn't a AAA they could have done that too. However, they have tried to make amends in some way by providing this game. Now, this is a film noir puzzle platformer, and it looks like an interesting enough game. I don't know if it's going to have the sort of pull that Drive Club was going to kind of have, but there we go. It seems that there is at least going to be some decent games that you don't have to purchase once you have, if you already have a PlayStation Plus membership and you have your PlayStation 4. Well, it seems to be that in 2013 that the FAA have come up and they've met up with modern science. It's fascinating. Now, all of a sudden, they have finally accepted that it is safe for people to use electronic equipment on airplanes. Now, this isn't strictly gaming related, but I wanted to put it in here because, of course, people do like to game on planes, or they have their phone out, they're listening to music, and they get told by the air steward or stewardess to turn off their device until the plane is safely in the air, because there was a belief that the electronic equipment would somehow tamper with the flight deck. That now turns out to be fully proven to be false, as has been well established and understood for quite some time. Thankfully, that is now a thing, and it means that people can actually get on their flight, listen to their music, and not be goddamn badgered because they're about to land, they're about 20 minutes from the ground, they're bored, it's God knows, it's the middle of the night, and they've had to turn their music off. So generally, I think that's some pretty good news all around for everybody. Fantastic. Round of applause to the FAA. Thank you very much for actually doing something sensible. Glad to see that. Anyway, guys, you've been looking through the 2020 vision of the Anarchic Eye. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys later.